Hi everyone, it's Suzanne. Welcome to my channel for those of you who are new. So here's a story of rattlesnakes. First of all, I just was coming back from the barn one day and walking up to my front steps, which I'll show you a picture of. I got to the top of my steps, which is where I am now, and I looked down and there was a rattlesnake, and I'm going to show you the spot in the next photo of where the rattlesnake was. I didn't really see him at first, but I heard the rattle. And once you hear a rattle from a rattlesnake, you will never forget it. And it was right here, right in my front steps. I'll show you a picture of my house. It's a double wide, right? And so I have these fake steps that are here. So the rattlesnake went underneath the steps when he got scared by me. And of course, you know, I got totally freaked out. And I mean, I don't have a huge fear of snakes, but I do have a fear of rattlesnakes. I've heard some stories. So from what I understand, and I'll show you a picture of that, the rattlesnakes come from across the road, from like 3 miles away. The male rattlesnakes can travel 3 miles looking for a female during mating season. I called 911 and they said, well, we don't know. I'm like, well, somebody better know. I live in the Northeast in New York, upstate, up in near the Adirondack Mountains near Lake George. And rattlesnakes are an endangered species here. So if you kill a rattlesnake, don't tell anybody when you're in the Northeast, because you can get a $1,500 fine. So it's protected. There's probably thousands of them over there in that den. So it's not funny, but it is kind of funny because, you know, you can die from a rattlesnake bite. So this guy came. So 911 said, oh, well, we're going to contact the Department of Environmental Conservation, and, you know, they'll send somebody over. I said, okay. So they sent this guy over here, and he was scared. He really was. He didn't know what to do. So he said, well, where is it? I said, well, it's underneath those steps. He says, well, I'm not going to pick that up. He says, if I can't see it, it's not here. I said, it's here. He said, I can't see it. I said, it's underneath those steps. And he didn't want to go after it. I said, we got to get that out of there. We got to get it out. So he goes in the back of his truck and he gets his thing, that's whatever they're called, to grab it. And he says, I'm not lifting, no, I can't lift those steps up. I said, well, I can. And I had to go over to the steps close to where the rattlesnake was, while he stood way back here, and lift that thing up so that he could get the snake out of there. He was scared. I know he was. I'm like, okay. So he gets the snake, and then he didn't have anything to put it in. He says, oh, I don't have my bin. I don't have a bin. And he says, get the bin. I had to go into his car and get the bin out so that he could put the snake in the bin. The snake was 6 feet long. I'll show you some pictures of their timber rattlesnakes. I'll put some pictures up here of how long they are and what they look like. This one was huge. And he's like, well, he says, I got to take it over to the biologist, because there's a biologist over here somewhere. I can't remember his name. And I'll just leave it on his front steps. He was just gonna leave the rattlesnake on the steps, on the front steps of the biologist's house. So that was good. So then of course the biologist came over here and was like all excited, and he's like, oh, I can't believe the rattlesnake, you know, because he's a researcher, so he was very excited and very happy. And he says, well, I'm going to put that one back in its den. And like, because the DEC guy said to me, well, if you kill that, that's a $1,500 fine. And I wanted to say, well, not if I don't tell you. I mean, I'm not about to kill rattlesnakes, but if it's between me and the rattlesnake, I'm probably going to do something to protect myself. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, so the biologist came over. We had a nice conversation. He told me all about them and what they do. They're not going to attack you, just so people know. As far as the timber rattlesnakes in this area, they don't attack. They're not aggressive. In other words, they're just sitting there hanging out. If you get into their space, they're going to bite you. It was a woman that got bit. And she probably just stepped in the rattlesnake was on the porch there and, just stepped near it and it bit her because she just didn't see it. That's what happens. But they're not going to bite you unless you're in their space. I hope she's going to be okay. It's very serious to get bit by these timber rattlesnakes. You can die. The biologist told me, oh yeah, I almost died from a snake bite one time, a rattlesnake. I'm on the side of my house here. And this is where I went the next day to just do some trimming. So I had my trimmers right here, right? I hope there's not a rattlesnake here, because if there is, I'm in big trouble. There could be one in here. So I was right down here, right here. I don't know, right? And I heard the rattle, and it was loud. It was really loud when I heard that rattle. Right here. Right in here. Anyway, so this is where he was, right in here. Hanging out. I don't hear any rattle now, so I don't think there's one in here. But you never know. So that was where the second one was. And I was really lucky that I didn't get bit, because the rattle was very, very loud. And here's my shed. You can see that in the background here, right? My little shed. And I went in here to get some gas the other day, and there was a snake skin in there. So I don't know what's going on in there. Creepy. I'm a little nervous about going in there to go through that. I don't see anything right now. Anybody in here? I'm very glad that there's none here right now. If you have any questions about the timber rattlesnakes, I can do a video all about them. It's very interesting. As long as you don't almost catch one with your hand. So you never know what could happen. Tomorrow is never promised. Life is just like that. So I appreciate you watching, and I hope you can subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button for more fun videos about rattlesnakes. Thank you. See you next time.